as we are moving about our days, thoughts may arise about wanting something or desiring something. And there have been patterns and programs running that lead us to believe that when a want or desire thought arises, it's our duty to make it so. And then we get on the wheel of wanting and having and wanting and having, and it just never, ever ends. Being in a desireless state is the ultimate freedom. It is peace. And in other talks, I've covered that real good feeling that you have when you actually get something that you want doesn't come from the thing itself, but it comes from being in that desireless state. Now, as has been said, I think Alan Watts said, the desire to not have desires is itself a desire. So, what to do? Witness and observe desire or wanting thoughts arising. And I guess, first of all, before anything, see what their source is. See what the source of the I want thought is. I want. And I won't even go into I need, but there was a time when here we go. There was a time when there was a conscious effort made to not use the word need. Instead of need, say I want. Need had too much energetic tension with it. And then it was realized that I want is the same thing. It's just a softer energetic tension. So when an I want thought arises, first and foremost, find the source of it and then observe it. Now, all thoughts of wanting something are on the same side of the table. However, some might be, I want a glass of water, and if a glass of water is not obtained, then it's not that big of a deal, or I would really like some ice cream right now. Then there are others that have this more of an energetic, there's more energetic friction associated with them in the forms of I want to be with this person, I want this job, I want more money, I want. If you can look at all of those thoughts arising and see that that's just what they are, and have the, I guess, wisdom or understanding to know that they're not actually going to reconcile in a way that brings you peace. Maybe for a split second. Maybe for a week, maybe for a year, maybe a job that you've wanted your whole life you finally get, and you get some satisfaction from that, and you don't want anything else in the world for, I was gonna say a year, but that's not seemingly how this how these programs work. The mind wants something different, wants something more. The mind is the thing that wants. So the want and the desire thought arising can be a wonderful opportunity to observe it and see where it's coming from. And if this is just more food for the mind, so there's no suggestion here that this should be done. But if you look at wants and desires and you follow them to their logical conclusion or to the core of what they are, most often you'll find at the root is just wanting to come home, wanting peace, wanting to feel safe, wanting to feel whole. Wanting things is not necessarily bad. those in the same way that any thought arising isn't good or bad. Wanting thoughts just happen. And I'm going to use the word need. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to complete the call to action to fulfill that want. And if energetically it's just like, well, I have to, well then do it, go for it. But I think that if you consistently observe that those want thoughts are just arising from nowhere, and it's not really about talking, when you're looking at that logical conclusion, you're not talking yourself out of wanting it, but you can just see that it's just the mind, which doesn't exist, so it's just this bundle of thoughts, never satisfied, always looking for the next thing. And once it gets a taste of that, once once those patterns and those programs have been running, and they have for a long time, it'll just keep coming up with them. It will never be satisfied. It's never satiated. It's never full until it is seen that it doesn't exist. Those wanting thoughts are not you. They're not your true nature. They're not who you really are. Thoughts come and go. Desires come and go. Reality, what you truly are, doesn't come and go. It was not born. It does not die. It's the one constant. So if you can be that present awareness, observing, and it may seem as if there's a pushing towards being in this state of desirelessness, and it's a great place to be, to not want anything, to not desire anything is the most amazing thing. It's really the most freeing and peaceful feeling that you can possibly have. But part of that freedom is the allowance of wanting thoughts to arise, of desires to appear whenever they happen. I have no idea if this talk is helpful. They all sort of come from themes of phrases or thoughts or feelings that arise, and it seems now that they're and maybe forever, but just the reason that this happened or is happening is there seems to be a lot of wanting. There's a lot of confusion of what's going on in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty, and we live in uncertain times is always the case. It's always the case that we don't know what's going on, and we don't know what's going to happen. Fear will come in and will sort of take over and say, well, yeah, but that was better. It was better than before this. Really? I mean, do you know that that was necessarily better? That this is awful? No, you don't. But this wanting for whatever is happening to be something different, to be something else, to be in another place, in another situation, is just wanting thoughts arising. And the mind might add logical content to describe why these wants are somehow satisfactory and that they should be pursued and reconciled. But it's always going to do that. It's always going to do that, no matter what period of time we're in or what's going on in the world.